Welcome back to the Turtle Talk podcast. It is episode 6, live from the 410. It is your host, Old Sun Sports. We have a great, always a great week to be a Terrapin, and co-hosted by John from Sideline Sports Network. Welcome to the show, John.
What's up? What's up?
So big win for the Terps last night. It's good news in Terp Town.
Oh yeah, basketball's back, baby. We got to put the meme of the Wire. I forget what the character's name is. Idris Elba's character with the Terp hat on, saying, "I want you to put the word up that we'll be back."
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's a good meme. Good meme.
Yeah. Also the social media for Maryland Terrapin, it's hilarious. The losers thing they posted last night in the win, that was hilarious.
Oh, I missed that. The losers. That's hilarious.
It's on the official page. They posted it. I don't even think the game was over when they posted it. But shout out to the fans, man. The students, they showed out, even if it wasn't fully packed. It's 9 p.m. on a weeknight. I understand, but that rock and roll part 2 at the end of the game, oh man, that got my blood flowing.
Juices going.
I'm excited.
It was fired
up.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about first? Football recruiting. I guess that is the bit of bad news.
I mean,
we didn't get Nick Harbor.
Yeah, I mean, it is National Signing Day, so it wouldn't be without some drama. No lock special this time, unfortunately, but the Nicholas Harbor saga is it's a perplexing one, to say the least. I think highly of the kid. I'm not trying to do this to rag on him, but I really feel like once he signed with the agent or has somebody representing him for NIL deals, that's when the tide turned where it was, first it's a relationship based recruitment and turned into an NIL based recruitment from that point on. And man, the last 24 hours of this has been hectic as hell. From this time last night to 1 o'clock, it was South Carolina, and then it was Oregon, and then Maryland had a shot, and then back to South Carolina, back to Oregon. And ultimately he picked South Carolina, which, they've done pretty good in the DMV this last class, grabbing Tree. We all know what happened there. That was a weird one too. And then they grabbed some Jabari Sandy and Desmond Umeozulu. I don't know how to say his name. So that's a good class for them. And we're not going to get every kid. And in fact, we didn't even recruit Sandy or Desmond. So, and really weren't recruiting Tree until he, kind of put that, reciprocation when he decommitted. I don't know what the story of that is, though. I don't know if that was just for show or what. South Carolina wasn't a difference maker when it came to NIL when, Tree was, they were scrounging up coins to get Tree back into South Carolina, and all of a sudden they got all these big brands sponsoring them. Coke, Bojangles, Beats, Bojangles is in the picture with Nick, so in his commitment picture. So, that's but I think, on one side you see that, but on the other, we were going to pay probably upwards of 7 figures for this kid. And for a kid that's a freshman, that's might not even play as a freshman if he plays at all, because if he makes the Olympics, who knows if he ever touches the football field again. And for a guy, he's going to make more than, what the guys that really make a difference on your team, Talia, Jay Sean, and, whoever, he's going to make more than them. He's going to make the most on the team. It just doesn't make sense from a logistics standpoint on the team. You don't want to upset the players that are on your team by, signing.
I want to say we definitely did. We definitely wanted Nick Harbor, but there are some. He's not a sure thing as no college prospect is a sure bet.
Absolutely. I mean, you're signing him, and he's ranked, number 1 athlete because his, long-term potential. he wasn't featured in the offense at Archbishop Carroll, which is kind of crazy. He's like, not their, they have some great athletes. They're a really, really good track team. So they have some great athletes, but, you don't feature Nick Harbor in your offense. That's kind of wild to me.
Yeah.
But, he's really raw. He's obviously super fast, super tall, but he's not very, smooth in his breaks. He's a body catcher. So in terms of immediate contribution, obviously, yes, you want him, but he's not going to be the freshman All-American who puts up 60 yards. He's not Vernon Davis, and people convince themselves that he is Vernon Davis. He's not. Vernon Davis was stronger. He was smoother, maybe not as fast, but a better jumper. He was just overall a better player than Nick was, at least at this point. We'll see how he progresses.
Yeah. Not to rag on Nick Harbor, of course not, but
no. I mean, like I said, he's got the world talent. Every kid in high school, 99% of kids in high school are coming in with flaws about them.
Yeah, exactly. There's no such thing as a perfect prospect.
Right. And to flip it to the Twins, that was a wild one too. Splitting them up. I heard it was a possibility, going into National Signing Day. I never believed that was going to happen, just because, when do you see Twins split up in college sports? But, Michael commits to Maryland and Andrew to UCF. Michael, he's kind of a smaller guy, like 6 foot, 200-ish pounds. But, he's new to football. He's got great athleticism. He's a good zone coverage. Good in reading the run. And in last year's state championship in his division, he finished second in long jump. So that just speaks to the athleticism the kid has and potential that he has.
Yeah, big time prospect. I'm definitely happy we have him in the fold.
Right, and that leaves 2 scholarships available, which, when I spoke about it to other people, I said, no matter if we get Nick or if we get the Twins or we get none of them at all, I think it's still a good day, because Mike Locksley, he's not going to let those scholarships go to, waste. We got to get a cornerback. We probably, we have two available. So I think one might be a cornerback. One might be an edge rusher. I think long-term offensive line could be a possible. Tight end could be a possible. Yeah. But, we'll have to wait till spring ball to get that one sorted away. I don't think we're just going to go out and sign who's available, because there's really not much available.
For sure. So I guess that'll wrap things up for the 2023 recruiting class. And all in all, it was a very solid year. Great. I think we have momentum shifting in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trajectory of the program is it's pretty set on a nice steady rise. And I don't want to. I think 10 wins plus bowl game, and whole season 10 wins. I don't think that's out of the question. And obviously, we said that last year. But my opinion, I think in most spots we're a better team than we were last year.
For sure,
and I think there's a couple of spots that
softer schedule for sure too.
Oh yeah, I mean we should start 5-0. We don't play. We play Towson, Virginia, Charlotte, which I think is a good 3 that especially with Charlotte now being a DMV school, that'll be a nice one where we can pull the crowd. Virginia will be a one we can pull the crowd because old ACC foe, rival. So, I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more respect for Maryland coming up this year in football.
For sure. Nationally, we're starting to stamp our brand on the national stage of college football and announce our presence.
Right.
All right, cool. So I guess we'll swing it over to basketball. Let's talk about on-court results first. Big win last night.
Yeah, we'll start with the Nebraska game just because
that's
it's out of our memory. But
yeah, I forgot about that one.
It was definitely a slow start for that game. They got up, I think it was 22-20, 21 or something at like the under 8 or something like that. And from there on, I think we steadily kept playing really good. We shot the 3 well. We got to the line, and when we got to the line, we made our free throws. Obviously, it was a home game, so Jameer Young he led the way. He always leads the way. He is the best player in the country when you're playing in Xfinity Center.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that was one of the games where Donald Carey, decided to make all of his shots, and then decides to come out in Indiana and miss all of his shots. It's either make them all or miss them all. There's no really in between. But really, in Nebraska, it wasn't groundbreaking. We got a commitment from Braden Pierce during that game, and we got a couple of visitors. So, but yeah, Indiana, that was a really, really physically, rough game for both teams. Yeah. And definitely, I think the refs, if putting on my non-biased eyes, I think the refs are definitely in our favor a little bit in the first half. But then the second half, you saw at the start of the second half, they were just, anytime you touched them, they just blew their whistle, called a foul or something. So that was a little frustrating, but I think we controlled the game pretty much as soon as we started taking off. I think they had a point where they came down at the start of the second half. They came down within 1 point, or they might have taken the lead, but pretty much the whole game we had the tempo. We led the game. Jameer Young, 20 points again. Dante Scott had 19. And, let me shout out Trace Jackson Davis, because he had half of their rebounds and actually broke the Xfinity record for rebounds in a game. He had 20 rebounds.
Wow, that's an Xfinity Center record. I didn't realize that.
I don't know if it's an opponent record or if it's a total record, but that is.
He was crashing the boards last night. Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah, and let me also shout out 0 turnovers in the entire first half for Maryland. That's
such a stark contrast.
Yeah, if you don't turn the ball over in the first half, there's a really good chance that you're in a good spot going into halftime, unless you don't make shots, which we didn't. We shot 34% from field deck this game. That was the first time since before Turgeon, before Turgeon, that we have beat a team by 12 plus or something without, shooting under 34%.
Interesting.
Or shooting 34% or under. It's insane. 12-1 at home. This season it's starting to trend up. We got a I wouldn't say pretty favorable, just because we do play Michigan State away this week, but facing Minnesota away, that's great. And I think we have Nebraska again, Minnesota again, a couple of home games. Ohio State is falling apart. By the time we play them at their place, they might have just gave up the entire season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's preview Minnesota first of all. Their last 4, some crazy games. Starting with the Northwestern, they lost by 20. Then they lost at home to Indiana by 4. They lost away to Michigan by 4. And they lost at home to Purdue by 22 points. 22 points. 39 points in the entire game.
Crazy.
Against Purdue.
That reeks of the Big Ten.
That's terrible. They're not a good team. Their 2 leading scorers are both kind of bigs, but they're not even they're kind of all right. Dawson Garcia is their best player by far. Jamison Battle probably right behind, but that's a game where Julian Reese should shut down the paint. We got Scott as a solid post defender. Emilian should get 4 blocks. Anything less than a win is just an abysmal result.
Travesty, yeah. Maybe
travesty
it would be a strong word, but yeah.
It'd be program breaking.
Disappointment if we lost to Minnesota for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not gonna look past them, because obviously the Big Ten is rough. Any way game could go in your favor or not in your favor. We're 1-6 in the entire season on the road, and their one true road win was Louisville. So I'm not gonna look past Minnesota, but we should, even if we are hitting shots at the clip that we were in Indiana, should win that game.
Good stuff.
And then a really tough matchup in Michigan State. Michigan State, they've been going through it in terms of their schedule with games the last month against Wisconsin, Illinois, 2 games against Purdue, a game against Rutgers, Indiana, Iowa. So they're facing pretty much all of the upper mid or all the upper tier of the Big Ten. And honestly, they went 3-4 in that stretch. If you're a fan of any Big Ten team, that's about as good as you can ask for. Except Purdue, because they got Shaq Edey on their team.
Yeah.
Tyson Walker, Joey Hauser, AJ Hoggard, Malik Hall, Jaden Akins. Those are their 5 just to watch for. They're all really good. They have a really good starting lineup. Really good shooting the ball, pretty good rebound margin, but they are a little bit turnover prone.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking for an in on that, is just play good D and, force them to turn the ball over.
Yeah. Good. Solid analysis. Definitely. I think we can beat the Spartans, but it's obviously going to be a tough matchup. Always a tough sledding.
I think obviously, any game we could win, but I think the possibility of us kind of going in there and shutting them down is very low. I think if we win, it'll be a grinder. It'll be more of a grinder than Indiana was.
Squeak it out. Good way to phrase it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're facing Tom Izzo, so the refs are going to be in his favor. He'll cry in their face about it.
Yeah, and he's always got something up his sleeve.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, any basketball recruiting news other than Braden Pierce commitment?
No, we're kind of in a slower, period where guys are still in season. They're visiting here and there, but nothing, concrete is materializing right now for Maryland. Just solid weeks from all. John Lamoth had another 30, 15, 12 triple-double game. So, I don't know how much that, weighs on the recruiting guys' heads, but, not 150 more players that are doing that in the country. And BCL, who I think BCL is a tough conference. It's not WCAC, but, it's still a tough conference. They got Mount St. Joe, who beat Montverde earlier in the season.
Mount St. Joe's a top 25 team nationally, I believe.
Yeah, so they're dominating the BCL, but I don't think the BCL is a pushover league by any stretch of the imagination. They're a tough league.
For sure. So let's talk about women's basketball. The Lady Terps are rocking and rolling as usual.
Yeah, What more can you expect from them? They beat Michigan at home this week. Michigan ranked. They beat Penn State this week. I think Diamond Miller got put on a watch list for I think Naismith. I think that's the award, the National Player of the Year, pretty much. So really solid. But this week, starting with I guess today, if you're listening to it, and Sunday, it's going to be a really tough one. Playing Iowa, and then at home playing Ohio State. And if you are a Maryland fan, you're listening, and you have friends that are Maryland fans, go to the women's game on Sunday. That's going to be a crazy game. And if we show out, I think the women's are going to surprise us. Number 2, Ohio State. I don't think they've lost yet, or they've lost 1 game total. That could be, really, really good game.
Yeah, for sure. Big tests up for the Lady Terps.
Right.
What about wrestling? How? Unfortunately, some bad news, right?
Yeah, just another bad week. We traveled to the Michigan State, both ranked. I mentioned it last week that the schedule has been treacherous, or wasn't treacherous, and then it got really we hit some really tough matches, and we had another 2-1s where we only really scored in one match, and so that it's unfortunate, but like I said, with the trajectory of the program, I think you're going to be, even a middle of the pack Big Ten team is still a top 25 team. And I think, we're kind of branching away from the uber tough games that we have. We have a match this Friday or Saturday. Saturday against Rutgers, and that'll be a home matchup. Then we got a home matchup against Purdue. Then obviously we got Penn State, which you could probably write in as an L. And then we have two smaller teams to finish out the season. So I think we can still finish out the season above 500 easily.
That's good news.
And have a couple of qualifiers in the NCAAs, but a lot of those guys are freshmen, so you can expect to step up from them.
In the coming year,
next year.
Good stuff.
Yeah, in the coming years.
All right. Well, that'll wrap things up for non-revenue sports. Do you any other news and notes or?
I would just say keep listening because we have a really good interview after this.
Oh, I wanted to do a Mount Rushmore for Maryland point guards. You want to do that?
Yeah, I don't have notes down, but I will go off my top of my head.
Point guards
we
is
got
an
a ton
easy
of
enough
them.
one. We can
that's a really easy one. We got a ton of good point guards in our life.
All right, so I'll go first because I want to take Melo Trimble. His freshman year was my super senior year, and you can't describe it, just the worst 4 years of basketball in Maryland basketball modern history. I was a student for, and you can't understate the effect that the energy Melo Trimble brought back to College Park about roughly a decade ago now.
That's a great pick.
All right, who's your first pick?
I will take Anthony Cowan.
Anthony Cowan Jr., great pick.
Yeah, he's one of the best point guards to ever step foot on the floor for Maryland. I mean,
yeah.
The stretch, as bad as the Turgeon era was, the stretch of point guards that he reeled in with Melo and Anthony, it's insane.
Yeah.
How that team didn't win a championship or even competed, it's just beyond my...
Well, they got hit by COVID.
Well, yeah, that team did, but I'm just saying, the teams that had, Justin Jackson, Kevin Huerter,
you're
Bruno,
right.
Those teams...
They definitely underachieved relative to the talent they had.
Oh, yeah.
But Anthony Cowan was a very fun guy to watch. Great guy, great terp. Anthony Cowan, great selection.
Right.
All right, so my next one, this is another layup. I'm going to take Steve Blake.
That's another easy one.
Steve Blake, obviously from Miami, Florida, the guy with the white guy with the long baggy shorts who's always trying to pick fights with 6'9" guys. You gotta love scrappy Steve Blake. He's a leader. He's a floor general, a true point guard, and he has a ring for us. So that's why he's one of the best Maryland point guards of all time, and that's why I choose him for my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
All right, your next one?
My second pick will be Gravis Vasquez.
Ooh,
in my opinion, I think he might be the best point guard in Maryland history. Maybe
I honestly wouldn't argue against that.
Those last 2 years that he had,
he was so good,
especially so good. I mean, I think he ranks like 1 or 2 on Maryland's all-time list. He won the Cousy Award during his time here. I'm pretty sure he led all people in stats the entire during the season. He was just crazy.
Yeah, General Grievous, such a great player to watch.
Yep.
My third selection, I'm gonna go with a throwback. The one of, I believe, 2 number 1 picks Maryland's had in the NBA draft, John Lucas.
Nice.
I wasn't alive to see John Lucas play, but my dad was, and he says he's a household name in Maryland basketball families. He's a NBA lifer, and he's a great Terp, John Lucas.
Yep. For my third pick, I'm gonna go with a little bit of new flavor. I am in love with Jahmir Young at home.
Jahmir Young, good call.
Jahmir Young he's so unstoppable, and he's not even really like that much of a shooter. He just gets to the rim, and he makes smart plays. I think he had a couple turnovers last night, but I mean, defensively, he's stark to he made.
Just love his energy.
He's got great energy. He made Jalen Hood-Schifino miss 13 of his 14 shots, and that dude's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft probably.
I know, it's crazy. Jahmir Young is quickly becoming a fan favorite. My last selection, I'm going to do Steve Francis. Steve Francis was a little bit. I was in my infancy of watching basketball at the time. Steve Francis took College Park by storm. But I've heard the stories, and you have to hear the story. If you don't know the Steve Francis story, you need to do some research. He was literally on the streets of Tacoma Park, and just kind of ascended through a multitude of stops, ended up at Maryland, and had one of the greatest single seasons in 98 or 99 that a point guard's ever had, and regardless of teams. Steve Francis was a magician.
Yeah, Steve Francis, man, that guy is the dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if this counts under point guard, but I don't really have many other options, so I'm gonna go Juan Dixon.
He's like an off combo guard. We'll allow it.
I mean, he's the star of the show in the 2002 national championship game. He was awesome.
He certainly handled the ball enough to justify being described as a point guard. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't a true point guard, but he handled the ball and brought the ball up enough and got the offense into sets enough that.
Yeah, I was watching. I was cheating a little bit, and I was gonna say Gene Shue, but that's way before I think anybody's time that's listening to this.
Yeah, Gene Shue. All right, good stuff. Well, that'll wrap things up for Turtle Talk. The main episode. We have a great interview, folks. I had picked the brain of one of the great lacrosse guys in the United States of America, Inside Lacrosse's CEO Terry Foy. It's a great episode. If you like Maryland Lax, this is your 20-25 minutes that'll get you hyped for the season. Thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?